Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with horse racing and football selections for Boxing Day, the 26th of December. Well, this isn't going to be too long a video, but um, what I've had an each way Goliath because I wanted to basically put all the selections together. And then I've had an each way Lucky 15 with my free bet from Monday with the more fancied, obvious selections. Doesn't mean they're going to run any better. It probably means the other, is it three or four, are probably going to run even better that I've left out. And then I've also had a football bet. I've had a £7 over 2.5 goals treble and something like a £3 31 just to get rid of the oddments over 3.5 goals. The football matches are the same for both bets if you're unsure or you're new to this video, because I'm expecting probably there's going to be a few new eyes on this video. All selections are always free, unlike some tipsters. So, So, very brief recap. The last bet I put out was really unlucky. I don't know if you noticed it. The 125 to 1 was nudged along in last. And I wasn't too worried because I actually thought what was going to happen actually happened. It's just that the unfortunate thing is, so the horse came absolutely flying once it come round the bend. Unfortunately, with 100, I don't know my distances, 100 yards to go, 50 metres, I don't know what it is. It was pretty much how it was finishing, nailed on to finish in the first four. It came fifth. The problem is, it ran straight into a pack of horses, literally yards from the line. Otherwise, it would have come place. I think you need to watch the race again. I'll leave the video at the end. The video at the end will just show. I think it was called something like "Having a Go" or something like that. You're probably not going to watch the video, so I'll leave the video letting you know which horse it was, then you can find it for yourself and you can see just how unlucky we were. In fact, my opinion is it should have won. Yeah, but it didn't, and we had nothing to come off that selection. So let me get into Boxing Day horse racing tips and Boxing Day football selections. So I've provided you with a King George selection, and it's a very big price. It's, in fact, I think it's currently the outside of the lot, and I've gone for that horse based on the ground and based on current form, really. The current form for that horse. So, as I said, it's a 5 pence each way Goliath. I'm going to get people moaning at the bet, but the vast majority of people don't follow me in for the bets. They might pick the odd horse that I've selected and add it with their own. So, I've gone for some early prices only because it won't let me put the bet on if I leave them all to SP. I think it's sometimes Sky Bet don't know what they're dealing with when you don't take all the prices. Anything can happen, and it's hard for them to lay anything off him. That's my opinion anyway. So the first selection is Touchy Feel It. It's 11 to 1 in the 11.55 at Aintree. Originally, I wanted to go for the Donald McCain horse with something like Could Be Trouble. I just think that horse is a bit too weak in the finish, but alternatively, I've gone for another horse with so many question marks over it, and I can never get the Henderson stable right. So this horse, in my opinion, in the early days, I'm talking 2 years ago, was a promising horse. It lost its way. Beginning of part of this year, when the Henderson stable was running poorly, round about Cheltenham wise, and just after, this horse was actually running, and it wasn't doing anything. But I think the last run, even though I wouldn't say it was tailed off, but it was beaten a very long way, I think that was down to the ground. James Bowen has ridden this horse in the past, and this horse has also beaten Could Be Trouble. Well, I think this horse, Touchy Feely, I think James Bowen has got a good understanding with this horse, and I think he could get a bit of extra improvement, or probably get the most out of this horse tomorrow. I'm not saying it'll win, not even close. I think it could place, and I think 11 to 1's an okay price. I had to take the price because it wouldn't let me put the bet on without taking the price. It could well drift. I don't know, but Touchy Feel It at 11 to 1 in the 11.55 at Aintree. The next selection is Bridge Court in the 1 o'clock at Wetherby, paying 4 places instead of 3. I've looked at the breeding of this horse, and basically, this horse it wants this trip or much further. It's been campaigned over 2 miles so far. I do believe it will benefit from the step up in trip, like I said. A number of horses will also benefit from the step up in trip, but I do believe this horse is headed in the right direction, and I think it's got a bit more progression than most of the other horses, or some of the other horses. I do believe Tom Lacey won this race last year and has got the favourite in it again this year, which has got a chance. The third selection is Mando at 13 to 2 in the 225 at Wolverhampton, paying four places instead of three. This definitely got a chance. I like the look of this one. I've added this in the Lucky 15 as well. I can't remember exactly why I like it. I'm not going to keep rabbiting on. Take a look for yourself. I think this has got one of the more obvious form chances. I believe last time it was prominent. It kind of lost its way partly through the race and then ran on again. And I believe this horse probably won't lose its way again in the race, and I think it'll come finishing well. I think Daniel Muscat's on board. Just double check. Yeah, Daniel Muscat's on board. Yeah, this was the first run for the trainer, I believe, and I believe it will come on for the run. So as you can see, my selection for the King George for 2024 is the real whacker. You think, come on, Charlie. I want people to tell me if you don't fancy this horse. This horse is one of the very few in the race that actually wants good ground. I can't see a horse that runs regularly on good ground. Could another horse cope with good ground? Possibly. But I'm just seeing so many question marks. You see some big names in this race, but a lot of them either require soft or heavy ground, or do they really want to? I know they want to win the King George, but I just find a lot of them are hoping, in my opinion, that tomorrow's conditions and the horse handles it okay. But I think the real whacker, don't get me wrong, I can't imagine this being named the King George winner. I just think it'll run a good race, and it'll be one of them horses where it's prominent, and you might see a lot of the horses behind it nudged along, especially if this horse can either make its own pace or sit close to. I can't imagine a King George pace being slow, but if this horse can sit prominently off a sensible pace, I think it's got a chance. It ran in this race last year. Don't get me wrong, it was beaten 10 lengths by Hewick. However, it was never really involved, but I look at the previous run that this horse had before it ran in the King George last year, and it was lame, and it ran an absolute shocker. This horse has actually come into the race this year in decent form. That form is still below general King George standards. However, I think it looks relatively strong on paper. However, you've got a lot of horses with question marks over the names, or horses with big reputations being bigger prices than you would expect. So I'm going for the real whacker with Gavin Sheehan, who won this race last year. I am a big fan of Gavin Sheehan. I think he's very switched on. I hope he goes to the front off a sensible pace or is prominent. And let's see what this horse can do. It kept jumping to the right last time over a left-handed course. Well, that's not a problem because this horse is right. This course is right-handed. So I think this horse has got a few things more in its favour than a lot of the other horses. It wouldn't surprise me if maybe there might be a couple of absentees anyway because of the ground. But let's see. And I think 20 to 1 currently is too big a price. The next selection is Milless in the 320 at Wetherby, paying four places instead of three. Mickey Hammond had a runner in this race last year. I think this horse is well handicapped, and I believe it will like this distance. And I think it's gradually running into a little bit of form. I think it's been lacking fitness, and I think this current run, after its two previous ones, it's gradually edging it in the right direction, and I think it's got a chance. The next selection is Under Fox at 10 to 1 in the 335 at Wolverhampton. This is, I believe it's a Mark Loughnane horse. I think, let me just double check, it's Luke Morris. It is Luke Morris. So Luke Morris, I believe, rode this horse last time. This horse has generally ran in better races than this. However, it qualifies for this 0 to, I think it's 0 to 60. It was running in Class 5 races last year. It's dropped in the ratings. I think this horse should run its race. 10 to 1 is too big, which is why I've took the price. This is the price that I wanted to take. And I think it's got an obvious form chance. The next selection is Waiting All Night at 10 to 1 in the 4:35 at Wolverhampton, paying 4 places instead of 3. This horse ran in the Cambridge. I think it raced prominently that day. It was first of 8 in its group. This horse, don't get me wrong, it's edging up in the weights, but it's got a low draw this time. It races prominently, and I think at Wolverhampton that's an advantage, and 10 to 1 is too big of a price. The next selection is an obvious one. It's Tenata. I've took the price because I think it'll be much shorter than that, especially if they fancy it. In the 5 past 5 at Wolverhampton, paying 4 places instead of 3. This horse I expected to race prominently. Hector Crouch rode it last time. I think he's recommended the blinkers. It's been dropped back in trip because I think 7 furlongs is its best trip. And James Owen's stable is absolutely flying. Yeah, just checking it's James Owen, not James Evans. So the lucky 15 with the most obvious fancied horses. So I'm not going to go into too much depth with this one. So it's a 25 pence each way lucky 15, purely for the fact it gets rid in its entirety of my £7.50 free bet. So it's Mando in the 225 at Wolverhampton, paying 4 places instead of 3. The second selection is Under Fox in the 3:35 at Wolverhampton. The third selection is Waiting All Night in the 4:35 at Wolverhampton, paying 4 places instead of 3. And the final selection in this bet is Tenata at 9 to 2 in the 5 past 5 at Wolverhampton. But finally, the bet you've all been waiting for, I'm sure, is £7 over 2.5 goals treble. And I can feel people switching off now. Come on, hang on for the football bet. This, if this bet comes up, which the last one did, it pays for the day. Well, sorry, it doesn't pay for the day. It's a winning day. So it's a £7 over 2.5 goals treble. So the matches I've gone for are Nottingham Forest versus Tottenham, because Tottenham seem to average about 15 goals a match. Forest are much more difficult to beat. I do believe Tottenham will score, but it wouldn't surprise me if Forest won. So make that of it what you wish. The next one it's the Lampard versus Wayne Rooney. Sorry, it's the Coventry versus Plymouth match. So Coventry are 1 to 3. In my opinion, there's always goals when Wayne Rooney is managing a team. Normally they conceded by his team. But in my opinion, there's pressure on both of these managers because they both got much higher reputations than they probably deserve, to be fair. There's probably going to be goals again, but expect a 0-0 because I've said that. And finally, MK Dons versus Doncaster. MK Dons versus Notts County. Over 2.5 goals again. MK Dons do not start playing until they're about 4 goals down, and it's the second half. Notts County are gradually running through a little bit of form. Once again, it's two absolutely headless chicken teams. These teams just seem to enjoy conceding and trying to make a comeback. So realistically, I've gone for 3 matches where it looks like on paper, I hate that, on paper, but paper means nothing, where there could potentially be goals, and that's the name of the bet. And the second bet is it's the same matches, £3 over 3.5 goals treble. So those are all the selections. I hope you have a fantastic Christmas dinner, Christmas period, Boxing Day, a lucky Boxing Day. So if you could like, share, subscribe this video, or do what you want, or just switch it off. I don't mind. I thank you for watching to the end. I wish all the other tipsters the best of luck. If I see another tipster bring a video out and there's some big prices that I've missed, I might even do another video about 11 o'clock Boxing Day. So come back for that, or subscribe and you'll be notified of that video. So I wish you the very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.